Hi friends, Tracy here from the Sewing Channel. Today's sewing tutorial is going to be on a zipper pouch. Now, it's not just any zipper pouch, of course not here on the Sewing Channel. Today's zipper pouch is finished on the inside with French seams. A French seam is really easy. It was one of the first seams that I ever learned. It's literally just sewing the same seam twice. I have extra footage at the end of this video if you're still confused about it. There's no lining to worry about with a French seam. Let's get started on these two zipper pouches today. You will need one piece of heat bond that is approximately 9 inches long, and I've cut it right down the middle in half, making it 2 pieces. A 9-inch zipper, one piece of fabric at 16 inches by 11 inches. The first thing I'm going to do is take the two 11-inch sides and pink them. I'm going to use my rotary pinking cutter, or you can use pinking shears. If you don't have either of those, go ahead and put a zigzag across it. Take one of your pieces of heat bond and lay it on one of the zigzag sides, but keep it about 1/8 of an inch or so away from the teeth of that zigzag. And then you're going to take and open up your zipper with the toggle facing down, just like I have it laid here. And you're going to clip it right over top of that heat bond. Take everything over to your ironing board, and you're going to press the zipper and the heat bond to the fabric, but you're going to be very careful not to touch the iron on the teeth of your zipper. Mine's metal, so I'm not going to really worry about it today, but you may be using plastic, and heat melts plastic, so be careful. Be sure to heat both sides so it sticks good. Zip it up and fold the zipper behind the fabric like you see here, and we're going to press a nice crease right next to that zipper area, again being sure not to touch the iron on any zipper teeth. Now we're going to get the other side prepped. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to lay your heat bond down, but this time with right sides together of our fabric, we're going to just lift our zipper up to that area, and we're going to iron it. At this point, you should see the little teeth of where you pinked the fabric peeking out. Once everything is bonded from the heat, you're going to turn it right side out, and we are going to press that area right along the zipper, just like we did on the other side. This is what everything looks like when it's nicely pressed down. You can choose to leave your zipper at the very top of your pouch, or you can do what I did and just shift it down a little bit. Doing this changes the whole look. Now we are going to put 2 lines of top stitching on both sides, catching both of the zipper tapes. Here I'm going to use my zipper foot. It will help me get really close. Here I've taken the zipper pull and I've pulled it down right before I started stitching. After I stitch a little bit, then I will lift my presser foot up and I will put the toggle in the opposite direction so I can stitch further. 1 line of stitching done so far. Now it's time to add the second line of stitching right next to where you just stitched. These 2 lines of top stitching really give it a really nice professional finish. Here's a look at the inside with the pinking just sticking out. Now let's put the 2 lines of top stitching on the other side of our zipper. One more line of top stitching to go. Here I wanted to show you my guide. I was taking the corner of the presser foot that I'm pointing to right there and using that along the white stitch line. Here is the other side with our double top stitching all done. Looks pretty good to me. Here's a look at the back side. I did use black thread in my bobbin. With wrong sides together and everything zipped up, you're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance down both sides. This is what it should look like on the sides. Now all you have to do is just trim that up with a pair of scissors, getting close to the seam, but not so close that you clip the threads. This is what it looks like after it's trimmed. Now let's sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the other side and do the same thing. Here we're going to turn it wrong side out, and we're going to push those corners out really good so that nothing is still inside. Zip it up and give it a really good press here, all along the sides. Now at about a 1/4 inch or just a smidgen more, you're going to sew right down the sides of that pouch. In order to get that zipper open, I grabbed the toggle through the fabric in the back, and that helped to allow for it to come open. Turn everything right side out. Push all the corners out. Give everything a real good press. Now add 1 row of top stitching around the entire pouch. I have to say though, using the metal zipper and the top stitching made for a very professional looking pouch in the end. And when we take a look inside, we see that that French seam turned out beautifully. There will be no fraying there. The area that we pinked up by the zipper tape, if it ever does happen to fray, it won't get very far because of the double top stitching that we did. Now for the smaller zipper pouch, I used fabric that was 12 inches by 8 inches. Put a crease in the bottom of the pouch. Then you're going to line that crease up as you see me do here with the seam that's on the side. Then we're going to lay it down and we're going to measure about 1 inch from the point there. And we're going to fold that at the inch. Now you see my fold is about 2 inches in length there. Now you're going to pin that in place and you're going to take it over to the sewing machine, or you can hand stitch it, and you are going to tack just the point to the pouch itself. Do this to both corners, tacking it down, and then go find some really cute buttons. I hand sewed the brass buttons on the smaller pouch here. Now my pouch ended up being about 6 inches by 4 inches in the end after we took away some from the bottom. Look at the inside there with the French seams. Nothing is going to fray on the inside of this pouch for sure. I did add a piece of the graph plastic there just to give it some stability on the bottom. I absolutely love how these turned out. We are going to put wrong sides of the fabric together, and then we are going to sew down about 1/4 of an inch. This is what it will look like. You can trim down any excess fabric at this point. Fold it over with right sides together. Now you can press this area right here to make sure that that's nice and tight together. And once you fold it, now you are going to sew that seam enough in to cover that 1/4 inch seam that you just sewed on the inside. The goal is to encase that entire 1/4 inch seam so we don't see any of it, not even a strand. Notice when we open it up to the right sides of the fabric that it is an absolute perfectly closed seam. Let's look at the wrong side of the fabric. Yep, that is not going to fray now one bit. An easy peasy French seam. Until next time on the Sewing Channel, take care.